Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today I have a little bit of a stash busting scrapbook layout to share with you. So as you can see, I have this pre-printed page. This is a cut above kit from, it was like a calendar kit close to my heart, had out a few months ago. And so there was like 13 layouts in here and it's super cute. So I'm going to put together this one. You can see we have some die cut elements that go along with the pre-printed base page. There's some clouds and an arrow and this little purple heart here. Whoops. Things are jumping out of my hands. But the way these work is they give you all the bits and pieces and the inspiration page for you to follow along so you can create these pre-designed layouts. So for this one, we also have a sticker sheet and it's hard to see. It's the word summer and that's part of the title and it'll say summer memories. So I have these snapshots of my boys. We had stopped by a friend's house and they had one of those giant inflatable bouncy house water slide things and the kids were just having an awesome time. So I thought there was just a few snapshots. So I thought this will be perfect to put in this little film strip frame here. So I left the white margin around the photos so I would have a little bit more real estate for the glue to adhere to the back of this little die cut piece here. So for the first one, I actually applied the glue to the strip itself, dropped it on my desk. I don't recommend that. And then tried to adhere it to my photo. This was a little bit tricky. I was getting glue on my fingers and it just didn't work really well. So I decided to put glue directly to the photo like this, just on either side here. And then pick up my little die cut piece and lay it over the photo. And that definitely worked better. So I know sometimes when you have a pre-printed page, everything can feel kind of flat, and I love to add dimensions. So I'm going to add a big piece of craft foam to the back of this photo strip here so I can pop it up off my page and just add some layers. This cut above kit is no longer available, but they do have new layouts out every single month. So be sure to check the description box below and I'll leave a link where you can check those out. If you're new to scrapbooking, these are an awesome opportunity. They're a great way to learn and you just kind of develop your style. It's super easy. Anybody can do it. And they're fun for the seasoned scrapbooker too. I really enjoy doing them. Sometimes I just want to put together a quick layout or I like to kind of revamp it and see what I can do. That is always fun. So the original layout had these cute little clouds, but I'm not sure I'm going to use them. I'm feeling like I want to bring in some orange. You see the waistband in my son's swim trunks has a bright orange color, so I'm running with that. I pulled a paper pack from my stash and I thought, hey, look, there's a pre-cut piece, perfect, and then the little zip strip has some phrases on there and I thought that might be kind of fun. So I'm going to slide this behind my photo strip on a horizontal line here, and I kind of want it higher, so I'm shimmying it up, but then it covers up the word memory, so I'm definitely going to have to do something there. So I trim that down, and I don't want this to get lost, so I'm just going to cut it out with my scalpel here. I'm going to line up my T-square ruler and then use my little X-Acto knife and just cut a rectangle right around this word memories, and then we can use it on our layout. It would appear my X-Acto knife is not very sharp, so I'm having to go over it a couple times. I think I'm going to have to order a new blade. So I'm just cutting this out, and then I'm going to use my scissors to snip up just because I thought it was easier. And then we will have our little word memories that we can use. So before I adhere this down, I'm going to use my edge distressor and rough up both the top and bottom of this orange pattern paper. It's a lovely nectarine. It's kind of a tone on tone where you have the darker on the lighter background. And I just ripped my paper, but that's totally okay because I'm going to hide that behind my photo strip. A little tape runner and nobody will ever know I tattered my paper. So using the grid marks on my VersaMat, I'm going to make sure this is straight across and then I can bring in these layers here and we're ready to embellish. So I still don't think I'm going to use those clouds quite yet, and this little zip strip came along in the same pattern paper that I pulled that Nectarine pattern from. So I'm trimming these out. They have kind of a little arrow shape to them and just some fun summertime words. So these little zip strips are basically the branding strip that comes along on the pattern papers. And on one side, it tells you about the paper pack, and the other side, it always has some fun like pattern that you can use, or word phrases, or just some element that can go as an embellishment on your page. So I always save the zip strips. So I do know that I want this little strip here and my photos in this area, so I can go ahead and glue those down and commit to that. So we've got our craft foam on the back of this one, and I just picked that up at, I think probably Hobby Lobby or my local Walmart or something in the kids craft section. So we are going to work on the title, and I'm bringing in that T-square ruler so I can adhere these stickers. I'm just touching the very bottom of the sticker down to the top of the ruler. So this is going to allow me to kind of move it around and, decide where I want to put it before adhering it permanently. I should tell you guys that if my audio sounds different at all, it's because I'm straight up hiding in my closet. I've got teenagers and they're loud and it's late, and I do not want to be up till midnight trying to record this voiceover. So yeah, I'm hiding in my closet. You'll have to tell me if the sound is better or worse, or if maybe you didn't even notice. So the stamp I just showed you is from my stash. It's no longer available, but it's called Starstruck. And I have a piece of white daisy cardstock, and I'm going to stamp a few of these stars in this avocado ink here. The color of the paper in that little film strip is avocado, so I want to bring in more of that green. I don't have a coordinating die for these stars, but they are super easy to cut out because you have, these straight lines all the way around here. So I will quickly get this star cut out. And when I do boy pages, stars are kind of one of those embellishments that just seem to always work. I love that I can pull stamps from my stamp collection and just pick a coordinating ink and create embellishments for my project. Along with the stars, I want to stamp a few of these circles. They're kind of like a little bullseye target circle, and it's from the same stamp set, and I'm stamping 3 of these in Nectarine. Now, it can be a little tricky to fussy cut circles, so I did use a die, and I will go ahead and cut those out there. So now we can stagger these about the page. I'm going to create a cluster on the lower left and then the upper right. And kind of whatever I do in one, I generally repeat in the other. So I'm bringing in a couple of those Nectarine circles and I'm layering them underneath the stars. And then this one, I don't think it's going to work. So we'll move that off to the side. And then here's those little word phrases we cut from that other paper pack. And they're just not quite right. So I'm going to make my own. This is Hello Summer Everyday Life, and it says awesome and this is cool. And so I'm going to stamp this in peacock ink on white daisy cardstock. I know many of us have a lot of stamps in our collection and we forget about them. So pull those stamps out, make your own word phrases, make your own embellishments and use them. I love how we can customize them, and we bought them because we love them, so why not? So I stamped that crooked, so I just flipped the paper over and stamped it a second time. And then I'm using my scissors and I'm going to trim these down so the margins are nice and even all the way around. So I've just about got these trimmed out here, and then I'm going to place them on the layout, and I don't think that looks good, so I move them to sit on either star, and I think we can all agree that looks a lot better. So these pictures of my boys were actually taken several years ago. We had some friends, they were having Memorial Day barbecue and they rented this big slide. And so we went over to join in on the fun. Of course, my boys had to kick it up a notch. They couldn't just slide down the slide into the water pool at the bottom. They had to see how far they could launch themselves, and ended up flying out over the water pool, out the front of the slide and onto the grass, and they thought that was great. So you can see I'm adhering my title, and then I notice, look right there, the letter R is disappearing into the white background. So I went ahead off camera and bumped all those letters over a bit so that it was on the darker background. So I'm just going around and I'm applying foam to the back of the little word phrases that we created. So those are popped up also. And then I'm going to slide these little circles in here underneath. And then this star is kind of half on the photos, which is already elevated with that craft foam. So I just need to put foam on the opposite half so it's not dipping down or anything like that. We want it nice and level across the page. So I like to generally create a visual triangle around my photographs, and I really only have kind of a diagonal, but when I bring in my journaling, it will kind of enclose those photos into a triangle, which you'll see here shortly. So I just about have all of these little doodads glued down, and then I was thinking to myself, what else do I have in my stash that would work? And I remembered I had these acrylic shapes, and I knew there were stars in there, and they're kind of that same peacock color. So that just adds some texture to the page, and I love being able to use up my stash. So for my journaling, I've had a lot of questions on how I do this. So I actually open up Microsoft Word on my computer, I insert a text box, and I make that text box the size that I want it to be. So if I don't want my sentences to be any longer than 4 inches, I'd make it 4 inches wide. And then I just print it out on white daisy cardstock, and then I'm just trimming it into strips with my little guillotine trimmer there, and then trimming off the edge. Hopefully that makes sense. When I am maybe scrapbooking at a friend's house or at a retreat, I'll take my label maker and print out strips that way. They tend to be a little wider, but it gives the same look, and it's great when you're away from your computer. So then it's a matter of just lining up your strips in the correct order that you want your story to flow. And then I use my tweezers and liquid glue to adhere those into place. I really like the way this looks, and it's an easy way. If you have a dark background, you can put that journaling on white paper so it stands out. And cutting them into strips like this, you can stagger them and you can fill the space very easily. So I have those all adhered down into place, and then I'm going to use a little dollop of liquid glass on the back of those acrylic embellishments. I like the liquid glass for those. I think it works really well. I'm really happy with the way this layout turned out. The pre-printed background really made this come together quickly, and it has a lot of layers and interest. And let me pull in that original layout there so you can see what that looks like, and then how I just kind of made it my own. Be sure to check the description box below if you're interested in finding out more about these cut above layouts and the scrapbooking subscription. Here's a few more videos I think you guys will enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.